Hey, it's Drybear. Another patch has come and gone, and with it brings a brand new skin collection to check out in the game. The Noble Banquet skin collection is available for every class in the game and is restricted by your base class and can be traded through your roster, but it is only available in the store through blue crystals or in the new Ark Pass. So today I'm going to go through every class and the 3 different colors they have for the skins. You can see exactly what your class looks like included with the weapon, so you know whether it's a skin that's made for you. So let's go. But first, if you have any questions or comments for me, you'll find me live every day on twitch.tv/Drybear. Who knows? I might even be streaming right now. We'll start with the general item, the wallpaper that is attached to your account, and you can see it here listed on your character select screen. Now, this wallpaper is only obtainable through the super premium Ark Pass, which is 3,000 crystals total, and it is a permanent unlock for your account that is selectable on the character select screen per page, so you can show off your characters on different backgrounds. And this one lives up to its name. It does feel like a Noble Banquet. You've got a statue in the back. This feels very Lutheran in its design. It's very elegant and high class. There's actually even some characters in the back that are doing some idle animations, looking at portraits over here on the side, and then you have some behind my Glaivier here talking and maybe sharing a drink back there up by the stairs. It looks like you actually have these really nice chandeliers up top as well, and then you have one of those trees, the blue crystal trees from like Rowendell, up in the back, which looks really gorgeous. I don't even know how they got that inside. Kind of ridiculous. And there's a grand piano on the side too. So this is the wallpaper that you'll get from the super premium pass that you'll have for your character select. And we're going to start with the scrapper because I love female martial artists. I have them all and you can't stop me. So we're on the scrapper right here. This is the white version. Now, again, the skin itself, the character skin, is going to be based on your base class. So all the female martial artists have the same 3 skins. However, each class has their own unique class-specific weapons, and they come in the same colors as the skin that's chosen. For Scrapper, of course, large, heavy gauntlets. You've got these nice adorned, even looks like there's got these like little bracelet things coming off of the end here. I actually, I personally, the skin is growing on me. When it first was shown, I didn't think I was going to like it all that much. It is nice because not only is the skin dyeable, including the one that you can buy on the shop. They announced that today, but it's also, it comes in 3 colors and then you can break it up into bits and pieces. So I think as we get more skins, you'll be able to combine these in really cool ways. And generally, I don't like the all white weapon. And generally these can be like a little bit overdone, but I love the fact that they mixed in a whole bunch of different textures and metal finishes to this. Obviously you have the black gauntlets in the middle and then you have the white, but there's also like a lot of this like kind of fine nickel looking finish sticking off the edge, and I think it looks really good. Obviously you got some some fancy high class vest, open vest with it looks like a little bit of this mesh tricks like treating underneath. I'm not a woman, I don't know. And then you got the like kind of like the dress pants that go down into these I guess kind of similar heels on the bottom there. It also comes in the second color, which is kind of like this light gray color on the bottom, but it adds in this like muted I don't even know what to call this. It's like an off gold slash like dark deep bronze on the back, and it does add this little coat here. So you don't have this with the white one. The white one is it's kind of just have the shoulders exposed, but this one has this little overcoat on the back that matches the weapon as well. And actually the little mesh you can see much clearer on this one because you can see it got kind of like this dark charcoal color underneath the skin. And then you've got like, I guess there was this here before. This is turned to gold on the mid section. And then you got like these nice little additions here that they have a little bit more of a specularity to them, which makes them pop out. The same heels, but a slightly different color. But with this mixture, you get a lot more color variation, I suppose. Just by adding this kind of this deep desert brown color mixed in with the rest of the skin. And of course, it wouldn't be complete without a all black option. This one has the chest covered. It has this little undershirt with buttons, and instead of mesh exposed, there's a little bit here. Looks like it's still there on the model. They've got like the sleeves coming down. The back coat has turned black, but they've got like this real deep of that same kind of brown color, but more shiny as an accent color. So for the the midsection, you've got like this little like corset almost with metal, the same colors here, but the weapon's black, and they've even got a little bit of white here, actually. Nice little offset contrast on the side there. And then obviously the pants are black, and then you've got like this deep black high spec on the metal there. And then looks like the heels are the same, but it still seems to work. And then you've got a tiny little hat. I'm sure that this is a very accurate and apropos little hat, but to me it's just a little hat, and if I had this I would take it off, but maybe you like it. And there's the little hat. Next up is the Glaivier, the latest advanced class to join Western Lost Ark. She's got her spear, and then she actually has the two weapons. We'll have to see the glaive as well as the spear. So spear much smaller. You can see it kind of adorned there, little black pole, and this is going to be the glaive on the back here, as you can see that. But the same body, hopefully at least with this, it's going to be the same skin on the body, and then we'll just go through the weapons, but at least you get to see how the skin might look on different customizations for each of my characters. So this is my Glaivier, and this is the weapon here. It's the same white skin, but the spear, if we can even look at it from a little bit further away, it's pretty cool. It's got like this little, like, I almost want to call them like maybe crystals or gemstones coming down, wrapped around the pole. I love the fact that this, like, kind of asymmetrical spear tip here, it's very, very fancy, and this is going to be the glaive as well. This one looks, it's, I don't know, it looks more like a halberd, I guess. It's very big. It's got like the little X here. It's as the glaives go, this is probably one of the smaller heads, smaller head profiles on it. But it is pretty cool. And it kind of fits with that. Onto the gray and the desert color that we have here. Again, this is the same skin that we have on the character, but if we bring out the weapon, this is going to be the glaive with that. It's a much deeper color. You lose a lot of those white accents, except for this little diamond on top in the very middle of the halberd there. It looks like the same weapon, the staff here, like the actual pole part, is the same. And it's got like the kind of adornments that go around. And then of course, this is the spear. So it's gonna be the same spear. I like this a lot actually, because it's got a lot more black in it. And I think actually, I probably wouldn't pick this one for the body, but the weapon, that kind of color scheme does seem to pop really nicely. Onto the all black. So this is what it would look like on a different customization for female martial artist with the little hat. And then we've got the same weapon set up here. Let's zoom out a little bit on this. You get a more of a rotational view. A lot more black here. So it's still, it looks kind of like the previous weapon. It just has more deep black in it. It's kind of the off, I don't even know what to call this brown. This off brown, this desert brown, is muted a lot more in this weapon, and then the black is accented more, but it does kind of fit with the previous. And this is what the all black would look like on a Glaivier. Now the Wardancer weapons are a lot lower profile. They're actually kind of just floating above the arms. So this is my Wardancer with all white, so it's the white skin along with the white weapon. It's almost like it feels a little more angelic and lighter form, a little more feminine, I suppose, than the last two, just because it's less bulky. There's a lot more that you can see through on the weapon itself. And even if we go into stance here, you can see it kind of just floats above the arm, which is really unique, actually. Most of the weapons for the Wardancer, you don't get to see their hands and wrists as much. So maybe, you know, if this is something you've been looking for your Wardancer, it does have a different vibe to it, which is pretty cool. You can see it from further away. It definitely makes you feel a little more normal life rather than, you know, fantasy character, just because there's just so much of a small profile here. Onto the gray set. Again, the metal is completely accented. It looks like the crystals, the gemstones here are the only white left on the weapons for the Wardancer, but you get this kind of this off brown color. Again, you get the darker black on the mesh that she's wearing underneath the vest. And you got the gold here, the same heels. And then you've got this kind of like a back piece going down there, but then you got a little bit more of that brown. And again, the same thing, you got that kind of floating weapon type, followed by the black little hat. This one kind of matches her hair a good bit. But again, same thing, same black skin that you've got here. And then you got, because there's less metal here, I don't even know if we can zoom in all the way. Because there's less metal on the weapon overall, the black plays a smaller part than it would in some of the other weapons. You've even got like this little bow tie here with the belt coming down. And then you got the little hat there. And this, yeah, this is the Wardancer with the all black version. We can go into battle stance here as she goes in. But yeah, I think with the Wardancer unique to the other class or the other characters that we're running with this with the weapon, it actually, it is pretty small form and kind of shows off her feminine, at least her arms a little bit more than some of the other skins. On to the Soulfist, which of course has the floating mystical weapon that sits behind her, which is a great opportunity to make it feel more, I guess you could say more decorative, since it's not really being used to beat or bludgeon people with. So it does almost look like it could be hung on a wall as a very high class decoration, something to adorn the walls with. It's got these kind of floating 4-point stars that come off of it. It's got almost like this marbling. We can zoom in on that for a second. You see the crystal here is actually, it's not pure white. It's actually got some marbling on it too, which is really cool. High spec on the metal as it goes around. It looks like it's got maybe a fleur-de-lis or like a spearhead on the back. And this is the all white skin for the Soulfist. And again, a different customization for the female martial artist. You can see. Yeah, the weapon's pretty cool. If we can kind of go into this, it's not going to change the weapon at all. But we can zoom out a little bit, see what that profile would look like. But this is the all white Noble Banquet skin for the Soulfist. Oh, and this one looks good. This is the off gray with that kind of desert color attached to it. And right away, the weapon does look much different. It still has that patterning on the back there, but the change from overall white and even the finish on the side went from like a nickel to this like deep bronze on the edge there. And it even got this little gradient coming off the tassels off the Soulfist focus. So like a big change in color there. You still have the marbling, the white and gray marbling at the top and at the bottom, but the weapon does change a good bit when you have it looking like that. And then of course, this is the gray with the desert colored coat on top with the Soulfist. And this is what it looks like in combat as she would be doing her combat thing. So this is the all gray version, and it wouldn't be complete without the black little hat. We've got, this is the all black version. Again, it would be just a different customization for the female martial artist. And then we can zoom in on the weapon here. You can see that the black, this might be my favorite of the three for Soulfist. It's got that kind of black color. It's even got a ribbon on the back. You see that? On one side, it's got that ribbon kind of affixed to it above the symbols on the back. More of a black to charcoal gradient on the tassels. You're not going to see that as much. Still has the white marbling and the bronze finish on the outside. But it looks good, man. This is the all black version. And again, this is dyeable and customizable through parts and pieces. And finishing off the martial artist, the male martial artist is the Striker. And look at that. You've already got some physics on the long coat that he's wearing here. This is the all white version for the Striker. And similar to the Wardancer, you can see that the weapon does have that very slim, minimal profile. You can see his hands through it. You can even see the gloves. And it does kind of float above him. Even if we go into battle stance here, you can see still kind of just floating above his arm. It's pretty cool. Very realistic clothing too. You can see these dress shoes on the bottom, and then kind of multiple layers on the back of the coat there. If we can get him to stop bouncing for a second. We can zoom in on the white, big fancy top hat. Got some nice adornments on top of it as well on above the brim. Look, is this like a little stopwatch or something? He's got some kind of pocket watch coming off his vest. And then a lot of metal trim coming off the shoulders, in the middle of the back, around the coat tie in the back. And he got this little black undercoat. So we can zoom out, we can see the pants there. His pants are sitting about ankle height, you know, he's got that tailored. This little buckle there, but this is the all white version for the Striker. I actually like the blue as an accent. And then this, is this like a deep navy, or is this like a black? It's almost charcoal, but it does seem to have some kind of blue to it. Maybe that's just the reflection, the specularity on it. This is the second coloration, the kind of desert brown with the gray. And this one I like a lot already. It is asymmetrical, so you have this kind of coat tucked in and coming off one side of the shoulder. But I actually like it a lot with the slimmer profile and not the big coat, covering him up completely. The dress shoes are this real, like, oh my gosh, really embrace that brown. A really shiny, high spec on the top, and then the base of the shoe has a little bit duller, but still that same coloration. Again, with the weapon, you've got a lot less metal to work with here, so the colors come through a little more sharply. And then you've got the same for the hat. The hat is different, the same here, but it has kind of like this gray and black, which I actually like a lot. I think it fits him well. And then without the overcoat, the Looks like the vest is simpler. There's no pocket watch coming off his pocket there. He's got a little trim to bring this little overcoat on. This one is pretty different from the last one. I like this gray to white to black gradient on the back of the coat. There's no ribbon or ties back here, but it's got a lot more going on the midsection. You got this chain coming off his hip as well, and then some kind of crisscross boobity bop bop. That is the Noble Banquet gray striker. And this is the all black striker Noble Banquet skin. The coat does make a comeback here. It does taper a little bit, and it's much smaller form. Actually, the coat stops at his waist and then goes down behind his hips and falls behind his body here. It does still have the physics attachment. This will kind of sway as you move around and run around. And this one is much more black tie. I mean, it's almost all black with this white shirt underneath the vest. I thought the vest was actually gray, but it looks like it's just black, and it's the speck that's throwing me off. And then you've got kind of these little, like, I guess silver points here on the side. And then this little, is this an ascot? Is that what that is? Coming off the middle. I don't know. I'm not fancy. I love the all black shoes. This kind of fits all together, but this is the all black version for the striker. On to the warriors, starting with Berserker, the man with large hunk of sheet metal as weapon. This is going to be the all white version for the warrior base class. It looks very similar, if not the same, as the striker, but the proportions are going to be different. Obviously, the warriors have different proportions than them. And this is going to be the all white version with the weapon. And this one is kind of interesting. You got the little pocket watch here. So I think this is overall the same as the striker was. This is just going to be bigger on the warrior. But we can zoom out here and we can check out the weapon. This one is pretty cool. It looks like it is symmetrical. So you've got this shape coming down all the way to the tip. It's almost spear-like at the end. And then the hilt is this, it's like this sinusoidal looking, it's almost bird-like on the edge. It looks like it does kind of have some feathers. You'll probably see the end of it if we have them grab it. Yeah, so there's feathers on the bottom here that come through. And then on the opposite side, it goes the different direction. Huge black handle. And it looks like there is, I don't know if I can see that. It's like this white marbling on the bottom of the hilt. And he just looks like a fancy man with a plan. He's got this, again, the white one has the biggest coat of the three. And this is the white version of the weapon. And this is the Berserker. Followed by the gray and the desert brown, that kind of deep off brown. Got the same crisscross here on the waist and the hips with the coat on the top. So it looks like it's the same as we've seen before. And this is the weapon for the Berserker. So it's got that same, I guess the same treatment on the hilt here. A lot more of that brown in the middle of the weapon. That stands out a lot more, but you do kind of have this gray off-white on the very edge. You can even see it's brushed a little bit on the metal, and it does have high specs. It's reflecting a bunch on the edge of the weapon. But this time, the hilt doesn't have any white on it. Actually, it's all black at the bottom of the hilt. The handle's still black, and then it's got this kind of brown reflection here. But this is the second skin for the Berserker. And this is the all-black version. Again, the shorter coat comes off the hip, off the waist, across the hip, and then down. And this is the weapon on the back here. A lot more black attached to this one, as you'd expect, but it's got almost like this mosaic treatment because it looks like it's not the same specularity all the way through. So as I rotate it and the light hits it differently, you can see some of the black standing out against the trim. Even like right here, you can see how deep black the inside is. And then it's got like this, this nickel finish on the outside. And then it's got, of course, the blade edge. But this one is the all black for the Berserker. Next up is the Gunlancer here with his massive lance. But honestly, as gun lances go, this one is a little bit more on the slimmer side. The shield is very fancy. It's even got what looks like this kind of nice padding on the inside. It's probably a very cozy shield to hold onto. And it's got this mix of, it's like black on one side and then white on the other 2/3, like the top here on the bottom on the left, and then the black on the middle as well. And it's almost got like this royal crown with that kind of cross at the top of the shield, which looks really cool. Again, the character skin is going to be the same for all the warriors here. You can see a different customization for the warrior based on how things work. And then this is the weapon. And actually, you can see it right up here. It looks like it's got griffins, I would guess, or dragons maybe, coming on either side of the middle. It's got kind of like that fleur-de-lis pattern on the middle, like this nice finish underneath it. And then, of course, if we zoom out and we grab it, this is the whole lance. But again, I mean, if you were someone who played Gunlancer and you liked a smaller profile or silhouette for the Gunlance. This one is one of the smaller ones. I mean, obviously it's still massive because it's a Gunlance, but there are definitely others that are much bigger and more in your face, whereas this one seems a little bit more clean. And I think it goes well with the fancy Noble Banquet skin as well. I mean, it doesn't overshadow the coat or the setup, but this is the all white version. This is the second option, the gray, on a different warrior customization. So again, we've seen this before, but this looks like this. And then we can zoom in on the weapon, see what changed. It looks like you got a lot more of that kind of brown color mixed in quite a lot. And the metal finish has changed. It's definitely a lot more brown. And it looks like it might have less specular on it as well, less shine than the one did previous. The black handle and the shine on the top there. We can zoom out and we can whip it out so we can see it right out in public. And then we've got, it looks like some kind of diamond patterns there. This is the second version of it. And interesting, like just by changing the colors and the type of metal finish on it, you can actually accent more things. You can see this like a little rail here. I'm guessing this is how you reload it. Is this, you grab this and then slide it back and then slide it in. It's even got like this little, I don't even know what to call this thing on the end here. It reminds me of the handle on a break action rifle where you have to, you know, cock it yourself. It looks kind of like that. And then this got this railing here, but this stands out a lot more when there's less white kind of calling your attention around. This is actually pretty cool because you can see that the white of the shirt stands out a lot against the coat here. And then the shield has a lot more kind of that gold brown on the side there. Still has the black and the finish on top, but this is the second option. And lastly, we have the all black Gunlancer Noble Banquet set. It's the same skin here. We can take a look at the middle if you wanted to see this with a different warrior customization. Looks like we're back to the initial metal finish from the first one on the weapon, but this is the individual. And then we can zoom out, whip it out. And this one might, I'm not even sure which one's my favorite of the three. The black is just, it's everywhere, man. This is all black everything. The shield's all blacked out. And then I think that it's almost two-tone minus the shirt, right? Because you've got this this kind of nickel, like dark nickel finish with this kind of matte black with a little bit of sheen to it all over the place. This one pops, and I think especially with dark hair, this one just looks menacing. But yeah, if you wanted a different profile, different silhouette for your Gunlancer, this is definitely a good option. Remember that the skin itself is dyeable, and you can take parts and pieces. You can take the top hat if you want. And then the weapon itself will be separate as well. The last of the warriors is the Paladinio. Looks like we actually got some VFX on this one. That's pretty cool. So this is what the all white looks like on a different warrior customization. This is my Paladin. So you can see just how that might look separately. We can look on that. But on top of the weapon here, which is the thing that's going to vary, very fancy. It's got the same griffin dragon looking thing on the hilt here that we saw with the Gunlancer. And then it's got some wings with, you know, maybe an eagle or a crest here coming out the side. Very Paladin-like. And then there's almost like this marble or pearl on the side of the hilt here. So if we zoom out and look at the weapon, I love the fact that there's a little bit of this holy aesthetic VFX, visual effects coming off the weapon here. And honestly, the weapon kind of looks like maybe a rapier. It's very thin and long. Yeah, it definitely feels more like a rapier than anything. You got this kind of side set. You can see that it's definitely smaller than some of the Paladin weapons, but the VFX make it unique and interesting in its own way. This is the second coloration, the gray. Zoom in and see this on a different warrior than we just saw. You can see the coat on the back comes up a little bit higher than the previous, and this is the brown. Going over to the weapon, I think this coloration actually makes the VFX coming off of it pop a little more because the white isn't kind of drowning it out. You got this nice brown here, the same bit here. And this actually makes the pearl in the weapon pop too, because a lot of the white is gone. So that stands out a good bit. Then we can zoom out and brandish our rapier, sword, whatever you want to call it. And you can see the little VFX going down the little end there. But this one looks really good. And again, I personally like a smaller form on the coat than the white one, but maybe you're looking for that kind of really big coat visual that you get with the white. And here's the black tie version, and I was very curious what they were gonna do with the VFX, and I am kind of blown away. So instead of doing the holy light, the yellow that we just had, the orange yellow that we just had, everything got blacked out minus the shirt. As you know, you can actually even see on the warrior, it's easier to see this little bracelet that comes off of his wrist. Again, we can zoom in to see what it looks like with a different warrior customization than my Berserker. We can zoom in on that, and then we can look at the weapons. So the VFX, they actually became almost like white gray. There might even be a small amount of like a dull blue in there, but it feels almost like Diablo Reaper of Souls. The white definitely kind of makes its way back in with the glow, and there's kind of this ambient glow coming off of it. But we can zoom out, we can look at it on the back. I think this might actually be my favorite for the Paladin. It's got that, yeah, the white glow is super nice. And I can see this kind of contrasting with some of the Paladin effects, but this is the all black, blacked out warrior customization for Paladin. Moving on to Assassins, starting with the Deathblade. Here we are with the Assassin skin. It's very similar to the female martial artist on the skin itself. This is the all white version on my Deathblade. So you got kind of the white white pants with the white vest, the white mesh underneath, exposed chest. Then you got this kind of corset, gold-ish. It's almost like this kind of dull gold. It's not as it's almost like white gold, but it does have a little bit of that gold in it. And then there's the mesh on the outside, and it's got like this little Protoss symbol looking hairpin on the head that's got these 3 little diamonds on it, I suppose. But this is what it would look like for an assassin. This is on my Deathblade. Looking at the weapons set, you can see that it has kind of a lot going on. A lot more than I thought it would. It's got these holes on the inside here. This is the longsword on the back, and then the 2 blades that she uses normally on the front. This one looks very thick. I mean, this longsword looks heavy to swing around. It's almost got these little, they look like gem insets, but they're really big. I guess they're supposed to be some kind of gemstone sticking inside of it. But if we zoom out and we draw it, we can see that this is the weapon on itself. And it looks like, actually, if you look at the brushing on the metal edge, it hits the light differently as you turn it around. And then you've got this really cool, I mean, this one looks a little bit more singular tone. Like a lot of the metals and colors kind of blend a lot more than some of the other weapons, but it still looks good. And if we can hit it again, we can, I don't know if we can't bring out the long sword, only abilities do that. But here are the blades. This is the all white version for the Deathblade, followed by the gray, like the off gray with the desert brown on the back. And you've got like this little back coat here. Again, this one, because you're gonna mix up the white with some of this brown, you can actually see on the blades in the back, it makes them pop a lot more because it's almost like this two-tone, right? You can see where the start of the blade edge begins and where it ends. You can see that kind of, and actually it shows off. I didn't even see this before, but there's this inlay etched design on the base of the blade for the blade itself. If I can bring that out and see it, but you can see like right here, it's almost like these concentric circles, maybe they're flowers. It's hard to tell from this angle, but you got that extra little bit there. Again, the mesh is going to be that dark charcoal, a little bit more gold going on. The Protoss hairpin is now this brass looking color with like white gemstones on top. And this is the overall, and then we can look at the back here. I think this makes the longsword look better than the previous. I think it just needed a couple more colors to be mixed in there. The first one just seemed a little too one-tone, but it doesn't mean that you can't like it. It's still good. And we're back to black with the little hat. The little hat makes a grand return. So just like the female martial artist, it's got the undershirt with this kind of ruffling going on in the buttons. The mesh is still there, but it's right underneath the sleeves. And you got this nice black back coat, black pants, dark black shine finish. Looks like it's got like this kind of that same brown on the bottom buttons on the bottom of the pant leg and then the heels. And then the weapon is all black as well. We can zoom in on the tiny little hat. Look at that, so fancy. And it's got this kind of it looks almost like Rowendell. It's very concentric and curling. It's got curvatures on it and a single gemstone in the middle. It looks like it's kind of bluish, like sky blue, from what I can tell there. And then I think this pops really well. And then here are the weapons. The detailing on the bottom of the weapon pops really well here, the black and the white offset. So you can see the blade edge, you can see the black there. The gemstones pop here because you still have this kind of deep bronze coming off here on the metal. And this is the all black version for the Deathblade. We can bring out the weapons and show. The white might be my favorite, but maybe with the black weapons, I don't know. And the other assassin class, the Shadowhunter. Here we are with the white coloration, the first skin. Seems to go pretty well with my Shadowhunter's white hair. You've got that bit going there. Again, you got the same hairpin. So this is going to be, the skin itself is going to be the same as the Deathblade. It's the same base class, so that's going to be it. So we're mostly going to be looking at the weapons here as the new content. So this is the twin blades for the Shadowhunter. The white, I think, looks really good. They've got these kind of dark gray tones as accents. Some of the metal is white, some of it isn't. You can even see it transitioning from that kind of dark color to the white right here on the back. And then you've got these really big crystal gemstones inset into the back of it. And this is what it looks like when it's folded up. If you don't have a Shadowhunter, these blades fold up and they kind of get placed in a different, like a concentric or symmetrical pattern on her back. And then she can draw them, and then they become these more war glaive things on the side here. Big handles. You can actually see, I guess not from this angle, huh? There's a little bit of this, there's a lot of extra handle coming off of this. It's almost like going into her body a little bit there, but it gives a little extra space. And I think what they tried to do with these weapons for most of the classes is they tried to not overly cover up the human form so that it makes it feel, I guess, more real life, slice of life. But this is the all white with the Shadowhunter. You got a short blade on the back and then the big glaives coming out the back here. But these things have a lot of shapes going in many different directions. It's kind of hard to get a sense of what's actually happening, but it does, I think it does look good. The all white does kind of pop. Followed by the Shadowhunter gray and brown. So it's going to be the same as the assassin before, but this is what it would look like on a different assassin customization than my Deathblade. And you've got this brown here. This coloration makes the crystals on the glaives pop a lot more. You can even see them, like there's like 3 here, 1 there, 3 down in the bottom. And then we can draw our weapon and look at that as well. This one does show the coat a lot more than some of the others because there's no weapon on her back, right? When she has her weapons drawn. There's also, like, because these are thinner as they go up, you can really see the skin a lot more. We can see the coat a lot more on her. And then if we zoom in, you can obviously see the mesh being a different color there. But this is what it would look like on a Shadowhunter with the gray and brown. And this is the all black set. This is what it would look like on a Shadowhunter with a different customization. And the weapon has less black on it than I thought it would. It does have a lot of these kind of accent colors where they were white before they're black. The blade edge doesn't seem to have changed at all. And it does still have some of that very like muted brown finish on the outside. And if we draw it, it looks like this. There's the tiny hat. And we are, well, if we can zoom out here, you can see kind of what this would look like. Again, the shape of the weapon really brings attention to the skin. So this is something that if you like the skin a lot, I think the weapons go really well with it. And this is the all black version for Shadowhunter. Moving on to the mages, we have the Bard. And this one probably class fantasy wise fits the most because I feel like the Bard, the minstrel would have this kind of aesthetic. But this is the all white version for the mage. So again, the character skin is going to be the same for all mages. All female mages anyway, and the weapon is going to be unique to the Bard. So again, we have the all white with the mesh. I think with the mage, you see a little bit more of the mesh coming down here, and depending on what customization you have for the mage, we can zoom in. This is my Bard here, but you will see kind of how that would look with the all white. And again, the skin itself is dyeable, as well as you can split it up into pieces. You can split the legs from the chest and from the hairpin on the top here for the all white. But this is the Bard, and this is the weapon, so we can look in on this. This one has a lot of black in it for being the white version, and oh my god, do you see the face? There's a face right there on the top of the Bard harp that it's almost like this feminine face that's leaning forward, and it kind of comes down to this pearl that's very reflective, high specularity, and it looks like even the piece that's coming off the back here is floating. Is this actually? Yeah, it is. This little piece is just floating on top of the weapon. You can see the strings, a lot of crystal gemstones coming around the back here with the white on top of it, and then some silver down at the bottom. Then we can draw it to see what it looks like. And this one, just by nature of the Bard, because she kind of holds it on her hip and it moves forward, there's not a lot of the weapons. Some of the Bard weapons come out behind her, but this one is just all forward. And what's cool about it is you actually get the face going straight into the camera. Look at that. So it's almost like this is her hair, but whatever that kind of goddess looking aesthetic is in the middle, it kind of comes at the camera with the pearl. And this is her holding it forward. But this one, again, kind of like the Shadowhunter, calls attention to the character skin a lot, because there's not a lot of, even from most angles, you can see it's almost like they're separate, right? Like you have your bard character and then the weapon coming off of it, which extends forward. Here's the second coloration, the gray and the brown. And this one, again, this is going to be the same for all mages in the middle. And it looks like it's just the same as the other female Noble Banquet skin colors. You get, because I think the mages are, they're a little bit more, their silhouette is brought in more. I think you can see the coat more than what you see. Maybe it's just because of the stancing, right? That the mages tend to be more composed than some of the fighters, as you'd expect. But this is the bard with my bard customization there. The weapon, you actually can see the face a lot more here, because the white is the pearl and then everything else kind of has that bronze, brown, black finish there, and the white pops up there. So we can see this from far away. And I think the silhouette on this is nice too, with the wings coming off with the little strings of the harp. Then we can draw it. This one, again, calls attention to the character skin quite a lot, and which will call attention to the coat, because when she's in combat, the coat is just it's just back there all by itself. You can see the little bow here with the belt and the buckle. You can see that the weapon kind of stints out. But if this is something that you really like for your bard, the fact that the weapon feels kind of separate, it's like she's carrying it along, it definitely feels very fancy. And lastly, we have the all black version. This one, of course, is going to be the same for all mages, and we've got the black coat under. You can see what it looks like on at least my bard customization. You can see of course, the little black hat has made a return. And looking at the weapon, it's got the black with the brown, and then looks like the pearl stayed this kind of white gray high specular. But this is what the all black would look like if you were to get it on the bard. You can kind of turn it around here, and then we can bring out the weapon. There it is. But yeah, that's the black version. On to the Sorceress. So this is, again, the same skin for the base class of mage. It's going to look the same on all mages, but at least you can see what it might look like on a different mage customization. My bard has much more fair skin, which we have kind of like the deeper, richer skin for the Sorceress. So maybe that contrast or the color difference is something you wanted to see before you picked it up for your Sorceress or bard. But this is the character skin on a different customization. This is the all white version. And then this is the Sorceress weapon on her back. To me, it looks like she's wielding like a lamp. It is so adorned, and it looks like it's just pure decoration. And it's kind of got that nice little bit to it. A lot of dangly bits coming here, but it looks like these are rigid body. They don't seem to have any physics attached to them. So yeah, it's all fixed here. It looks like these would dangle like earrings and move around, but I guess they didn't put any bones there to make them animate or react to physics. Those are hard fixed, but it does give you that kind of permanent silhouette coming off the back of the staff. And then that's what it looks like. And actually, if you look on the very top, it looks like there's a crystal at the top, like this dome crystal at the very top of the staff there. That does kind of catch the light differently, but we can bring it out, and this is what it would look like. The very aesthetic and thematic Sorceress pose with the staff up. Again, this one will call attention to the character skin quite a lot. Very small form, very tight, and shows her silhouette strongly. And this is the all white version, followed by the gray and brown combination. Again, it's got that darker mesh underneath with the open chest, and then the corset, the gold corset on the middle there. This is, again, the same, but this is what it would look like on a different customization. Whatever you have on your mage, it might look similar to this. You have the coat on the back, and then the weapon's got like the deeper colors with the brown on it, but the center, whatever design or crystal that is, stayed white. And again, you can see on the top, I wish I could get an angle on this, but there is a crystal there at the very top, and that stayed white as well, which I like a lot. I like the contrast that this brings. It might have almost been too much white for the Sorceress here, but we can bring out the staff. You can see what this would look like. Again, when these kind of coats pop a lot more when you have less going on. So I think the ones like the black and the gray versions that have the overcoats are going to be a lot more visual, and maybe even give you a more interesting silhouette than the all white, but it depends on what you're looking for. And this is the gray version, followed by the all black version with the gold trimmings, the little like gold-ish trimmings. The weapon is all black. You've got the same black going on here. This is what it would look like with a different customization. Here's our best friend, the tiny hat. And we've got all black with a little, it's almost got some gray coming off the side here. The crystal stayed white. And then yeah, the little crystal there at the top coming off stayed white, but this is all black. And if you step back a little bit, you can bring out the staff, and this is what it would look like for the Sorceress with all black. And last but certainly not least, we have the Gunners of the base class, starting with the Artillerist. Again, the character skin is going to be the same. I think it's just the same for all the males at this point. And this is what it would look like on a male gunner with my Artillerist customization. So you can see the top hat, the blue accent, the white. We've seen this before, but what we haven't seen is the weapon. So this one is, it feels very almost Victorian, you know, honestly, like Van Helsing or Cabaneri in the Iron Fortress, right? It just feels that kind of like made to work, but with, as you know, caution to the wind when it comes to metal. So this is what it looks like when it's folded up on his back. You almost got this like cardinal direction cross on the back here with this kind of spear tip coming off the back of it. The white trimming is on the outside, and then there's a lot of metal. You can even see inside there. You can see the weapon. The barrels of the Artillerist weapon are on the back here. This is what it looks like when it's folded up, but we can whip it out. You can see that the middle opens up and reveals the rotating barrels on the inside. You got these nice little turns in there. Very open as well. This one has kind of a smaller grab on the back. Nice little handle. And it design-wise looks like it would be functioning of the era that you would expect someone like this to, right? It's similar to the other ones. It's got like the rifle, the hand crank, the grab. It's almost like you're pulling it back. It's very simplistic, but still kind of dressed up and fancy. You got like these little black trims down here, but this is the all white version for the Artillerist, followed by the gray and brown for the Artillerist. And again, the same effect we've seen with most of them is when you remove the white and add brown with a darker metal finish, the kind of the overall perception of the weapon changes a good bit. And this is what the skin would look like with a different gunner customization than the ones you're about to see, with the secondary weapon, which we can whip out. Bring out here, and again, the darker colors I think makes the gun barrel pop a lot more. You can see the blade edges here that are still the lighter gray, white. They pop a lot more now. And then this kind of color pattern here is a lot more muted because it doesn't have that white behind it to make it scream at you. You got these barrel drums on the bottom with the same hand crank, but this is the gray version for the Artillerist, followed by the black tie event, or I guess we should start calling it the big hat and little hat. This is big hat, or top hat. This is the all black version on the gunner. It actually does seem to have some differences from the warrior and the male martial artist. Mostly here, it does look like, and maybe that's just a posture thing, but it does look like there's more shoulder covering coming down, like more fabric here. And if we zoom in, it does kind of have these little pieces here coming down. And it does seem to show less of the white, and it looks like it's more encapsulated than the warrior or the striker. But again, that could just be the way that the gunner's posture relative to the other males. And the weapon itself, it's all black, and it's got kind of dark colors. I kind of want to see it on a lighter background here. But you can see how this kind of reflects the light. Sorry for the flashbang. And there is the all black version for the weapon, which we can whip it out and we can look at it. I like how these designs that kind of disappeared before pop more, because they're the only real reflection. The black base is not very reflective here. Low specularity on that. And then this part here, it's got some nice sheen to it, which is pretty cool. And this is the all black for the Artillerist. On to the Sharpshooter. This is the, again, the character skin's gonna be the same, but at least you can see it with a different character customization than my Artillerist. So this is my Sharpshooter, and this is the all white version. It's got the little stopwatch there hanging off, and this is the white with the blue, but the thing that's different is the weapon, of course. So we're gonna look at the Sharpshooter weapon here. This one, I love the metal on this. I think the metal with the white might actually be one of the better treatments of the whole collection, because it feels like the white with the metal, it has a very nice even balance, right? There's not an over amount It's very intricate and the design that goes down. There's plenty of metal to get that speck in there, but the white has the nice offset. So this is the Sharpshooter with the white skin and the Sharpshooter weapon, which we can draw. And it kind of builds that recurved shape as it comes through. I love the little, I probably can't see it as much here, but I love how this all comes to a point here. It's almost like he's got this this handle, this spear tip coming off of him. It reminds me like Quincy's from Bleach. Maybe just because of the white fanciness and the bow. But you got this kind of picture here. But I think this looks really good. It's a very small form bow. Some of the bows have a lot more going on. So if you want something a little more minimal, this might be your Sharpshooter skin. Followed by the gray and brown version for the Sharpshooter. Same class skin, but it looks like this with a different character customization, in case you wanted to see that on the Sharpshooter. And then this is the bow, which again, I don't know, this weapon just seems so clean and so tidy relative to some of the others. And again, you got a lot of brown coming out here with the same accent. The metal brushing is a little more bronze brown than some of the silver nickel that we were getting before, but it still kind of has that same visual to it. It does look like with this, without the white, you can see that there's this nice little gemstone slash inlay coming off the very middle here. You got some on the back, which I didn't even see these really well when it was all white because everything was white. But having these be white is a nice little touch. And that is what it looks like on the second coloration for the Sharpshooter. Then of course we can whip it out and we can see what it looks like. Again, this one, I think they did a really good job of making these make sense with the skin rather than trying to be too loud and call attention away from the skin. So it feels like these kind of fit together. Like I could totally see this being like a vampire hunter or something. Black tie event, all black for the Sharpshooter. So this is what it would look like with a different customization. You have the black hat. This is the all black, the same kind of shoulder trimmings. And this is the Sharpshooter all black weapon. And again, similar to the Artillerist, these probably get blacked out more than any of the others. They definitely have embraced the all black, a lot more matte texture. You still have the high spec on the metal trim, but a lot of the matte texture that shows up on the back of the bow. The crystal stayed white. The little inlays here, inset crystals here, they stayed white, which I think is a nice touch. That makes it look real good. It makes it pop. And this is what it would look like if you were in combat. But this is the fancy pantsy handsy dancy Sharpshooter Noble Banquet. On to the Deadeye with the all white coloration. Again, the character skin is the same, but this is what it would look like with a different gunner customization or preset on your character here. And of course, the Deadeye has 3 different weapons. We'll be able to see all 3 of those. We can see the pistol best when it's zoomed in like this because it's so small. It does look like it's almost like an animal skull or like an insect on the back here. When you look at it from this direction, the holes that come down, it's like laid on the back of the pistol. You got the white underslung here, and it's black with this I don't know, like kind of just basic silver looking metal on the outside here. They kind of have this you know, Victorian pistol barrel. It looks like it is a revolver, or maybe they all need to be revolvers just by the way the abilities work. But this is the pistols with the all white set. We can switch to the shotgun, which oh goodness, this is, I'm guessing this is supposed to be like an animal skeleton or a bug. It's the same thing. It's laid onto it just like the pistol was, just on the top back here with more going on. You have the white coming all the way down, but coming to a point and then letting the barrels stick out at the very end as the rotating chambers in the middle there. So this is the shotgun, and then we can switch over to the rifle, which goes up off screen because it's so long. And the skeleton, whatever this is supposed to be, just gets more intricate with each weapon, which is really cool. It's starting to look more bird-like as it goes, but you have the kind of the eyes of whatever the skull is supposed to be. Bits going around there, much longer, but they all kind of have the same design. And I'm guessing maybe this is supposed to be leather here as a hand rest or a piece. The stock of the rifle has these kind of spikes coming off of it, and then this metal finish on the bottom with a lot of very intricate spikes coming off of it. But this is the rifle coloration for all white for Deadeye. Deadeye, gray, and brown. So this is going to be the same for the Sharpshooter and the Artillerist. This looks like this with the character customization being different, in case that matters to you. And then we're looking at the pistol here. It looks like it's got the brown here and a lot more black, actually. It's amazing how much that accent can change the presentation of the weapon or the object, especially if it's hard surface like this. But then you've got this undersling, and I guess it does look like this is supposed to be like a leather clasp that came up over on top of the bottom of the weapon. And I'm guessing we're going to see the same on the shotgun and the rifle. This is what the pistol looks like. We can swap over to the shotgun, zoom out a little bit there. Same design, but I actually love the fact that it's got this brown going through, and then there's this black detailing on the bottom of the weapon in there, which looks really good. And then you've got like almost like this. This is supposed to be the iron sights. I think it is the iron sights, but it just sticks up like a spike. The spike's coming off the side. So that is the shotgun for the Deadeye gray version. And we'll bring out the big boy, the rifle. And these, again, these kind of feel very real world, very kind of old school, maybe Victorian. I'm not even sure what words to use here. But you've got the same kind of presentation for the rifle as the previous. And finally, the fancy pants, black tie, all black version for the Deadeye. And actually with this too, you can see how much difference your hair color can make with something like this, because it's so closed off. You got these high collars in the back, no skin, socks, everything showing, except for the hands, the face, and the hair. But if you have, a very stark, sharp color for hair color, it's going to pop a lot with this. We can zoom in on the face. This is what it would look like with a different customization for your male gunner. And then this is the pistol, all blacked out into infinity and beyond. It's got the same kind of coloration pretty much all the way through. The skull that's on the back has more of a, I guess we're going with kind of like a nickel here. It's definitely more muted, but I think it works really well with him. We can swap over to the shotgun. This is blacked out everything. I think this is basically a theme for all the gunners. It seems like the weapons and the all black skin they're super blacked out. Like it's just black everywhere. A nice little coat design here that I just noticed as it comes down to the back. And then of course we can switch to the rifle. So this one, I think, yeah, I mean, I like the fact that the color of my hair for my Deadeye pops a lot with the all black. So maybe that's something you could be into. But this is what it looks like with all black. And lastly, we have the female gunner, the Gunslinger. So this is what the Gunslinger looks like. It looks like the character skin is going to be the same as I think all the females have the same skins and all the males have the same skins, with some subtle variations where I guess there needed to be some changes based on the character. But this is the female gunner, the Gunslinger. This is what it looks like on the all white version. And I'm guessing the weapons are going to be the same as the Deadeye, just used by the Gunslinger. Now, in case you wanted to see the female Noble Banquet skin on a Gunslinger with the Gunslinger customizations, which are different. So this is my Gunslinger here. And you'll see, it looks like it's even got this nice little lapel design here, which I think is different. I don't know if the others had that. I think that maybe she's kind of unique in that aspect, or maybe I'm just not remembering it. But we've got all white with the white mesh coming down. This is what it looks like on my Gunslinger. And then if we zoom in, we can see that the weapon, yeah, it looks like it is the same as the Deadeye, but you got the white with the black barrel. And then you've got the kind of skull coming down on top of it. This is the shotgun for the Gunslinger, and it's got kind of the same setup here. I really like the black contrast here on the bottom. That looks really good. And this is the all white with the shotgun, and this is the all white with the rifle. So we can see it from far away. You can even see there's like almost like this brownish finish on the very tip there. I won't be able to zoom in all the way on that, but you can see at least the base of the rifle looks just like that. So you've got like kind of that rotating bit there, that little like leather clasp, I think it's supposed to be, and then that little bit, and then she's got her little Protoss symbol at the top, which is pretty cool, man. Followed by the gray and brown color, same as the other females there, but you can see it with a different customization. So by now we've seen at least plenty of customizations. So hopefully there's enough in there for you to see what your character might look like. There are the pistols, which are the same as the Deadeye. Same coloration, the skull there as well. And then we can see the three weapons. This is the shotgun on top of the Gunslinger, and then this is the rifle. This one, I think, yeah, again, the brown here, like the kind of the desert brown here comes out really nice as it pops a lot more when you have this color scheme here on the weapon. Same skull that gets fancier with the rifle. Then you got that little black, I guess it's just kind of just intricate design coming out the bottom there, which looks really good with a different hairpin. And lastly, we can't forget Tiny Hat. with all black, same as the other female Noble Banquet skins, but this is what it would look like on a Gunslinger, with the Gunslinger available customizations, which are slightly different than some of the other female options. So this is what it looks like on my Gunslinger with the blacked out version and the black weapons. There's actually even some, it looks like there's some kind of grading going on here on the corset middle area, which looks pretty good. And then you've got this all black weapon. Again, the underslung barrel and the skull on the back of the weapon does have a little bit of a lighter silver finish to it relative to the other parts of the weapon, but this is what it looks like with the pistol. We can bring out the shotgun. That's the top of the shotgun with the fancier skull on it as well. And again, with all the gunners very black. So it can kind of make your character customization pop a little bit more. And then this is the rifle. The same, it's got these the same skull kind of pieces going on there, but that's what it would look like all black. And that is it. That's the Noble Banquet selection. You can buy it in the store for blue crystals, or you get it in the Ark Pass by playing and through some of the premium options. But let me know what you think about this skin. Is this, if you were to give this skin a rating from 1 to 10, what would you rate it? Are you getting it? Do you like it? Remember, it is dyeable, so I'm curious to see what people put together with this skin. But that is the Noble Banquet skin. Can't wait for the next one. If you enjoyed yourself today, leave a like down below. You can support me and my work on Patreon and view Patreon exclusive content, link in the description. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.